Hey, everybody. Excuse me. Welcome to another exciting MacWhisperer live broadcast. I'm Frank. I'm your host for today, and as always, we're thrilled to have you with us. So, here's my question for you today. You ever found yourself frantically searching for restaurant accommodations, trip ideas, or just trying to remember that cool spot your friend mentioned last month? If so, you're in for a treat because today it's all about unlocking the magic of Apple Maps. We're diving deep into Apple Maps, pre created and customized guides. Your new secret weapon for organizing adventures, curating local favorites, and sharing plans with friends and family. Whether you're a frequent traveler or just want your everyday spots neatly organized, this session is packed with power users, insights, and to make Apple Maps work for you. From exploring curated guides from trusted publishers to building your own themed itineraries. Plus, stick around for Dylan's MacWhisperer Power Tip, a hidden gem, a map feature that'll instantly upgrade how you plan and navigate your world. Of course, we have a free Apple Maps Smart Guide, your go to companion for discovering, customizing, and sharing guides. It's practical, powerful, and available only during this broadcast. Make sure you share that with your friends. So, you guys know what to do. Those of you who are live, you live loungers, let us know where you're at. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And what's one city, neighborhood, or theme you'd love to create a customized guide for? Let us know. Get your questions ready, right? Pop them in the chat. We always do our best to ask everybody or answer everybody's questions. So we're going to be doing that as well. Jam packed today. And now, as always, where's the man of the hour?
Hello, hello, hello. Hi, friends. How you doing today? Ready for a good session where we're gonna teach you some cool things about how to use Apple Maps and get your phone working even better than before? Super excited to have you here today. A couple of months ago, I did a YouTube video specifically on Apple Maps, and it was one of the big hit videos we've done in the last couple of months. And so we're going to drill down and go a little deeper into one of the important concepts of Apple Maps today, which is the idea of guides, which is a super cool thing that are pre-created for you and you can also customize. So that's a big piece of what we're going to get into today. Frank, will you just take a couple of moments while I get the screen share ready?
Absolutely. Just want to say hello to everybody. Looks like we have a packed house as usual, which is terrific. Lorna, Catwoman. Yes, I'm smiling today. It's good to see you. Charmaine, Shirley, Bonnie, Marion, V, Manny, geez, everybody's here. Stephanie, Jackie. It's terrific to see everybody here today. So, give us a couple of ideas of what you'd like to see from Apple Maps today. What are some areas, some things you'd like to see customized? Give us some idea where we should be going. I want to remind everybody. I know Dylan's going to be talking about it later, but this is our last public on a weekly basis YouTube live broadcast. From now on, we're going to be doing these once a month to everybody, but weekly they'll be available to YouTube members. So if you're not already a YouTube member, join us. We have a lot of fun doing these every week. I'm trying to think of the last
Right.
time I was searching for a restaurant. I'm interested to see what kind of guides that I can customize. How you doing?
Awesome.
You having
I'm good. I'm ready for you.
yeah?
I'm ready for you. Yeah, you should be able to pull up that screen.
So we'll go to the phone, see what
Yep.
happens there. Oh, look at that. Neat.
Look at that. Magic. Just like magic.
Love it.
All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is I want to get into Apple Maps and I want to discuss a couple of small pieces and then we're going to drill down on those small pieces. Let me get this guy to stop going to sleep on me because that's not going to help anything. Screen still shared, Frank?
Yeah, yeah, you look good.
All right, good, good, good. Let's just get the auto lock turned off so that stops happening. Great. Awesome. If we can hang on 1 second, I'll put this on my little stand so I don't have to hold it. Always helpful.
See a number of new faces here today. It's great to see everybody.
Awesome. Sorry about our slow start. We had a little technical glitch with one of our screen shares. So that's where we are. Are we able to, Frank, is that screen share still live?
Yeah, I can see
Doesn't look
your
like it
home
is.
screen.
I'm going to redo it. Hold on a second.
No sweat.
Yeah. Just complete. See if that gets us in there. Okay. Come on. There we go. Okay. Now I can see what I'm doing.
Perfect.
I think I can see what I'm doing. Having the day of days with screen sharing today. It's just been finicky the whole time. Let's see if that keeps us in it.
It's amazing.
Okay, looks like we're good to go. Looks like, yay! MacWhisperer fixed it again. Here's my biggest lesson, and this is the lesson I want everyone watching to hear. Tech doesn't always work no matter how good you are. Getting flustered, getting flummoxed, panicking, throwing things at the wall, yelling, screaming, it will not solve your problems. What will solve your problems is calming down, being persistent, and working through the problem. So I'm really happy that we've got this working. You guys got to watch me in real-time troubleshooting. You didn't see it happen, but we're up and we're ready to go. I'm going to start by jumping into Maps right here. Now, when you're inside of Maps, there's certain things that we might generally do. And I'm just going to start us off by talking about the different views that we've got for maps. In the upper right-hand corner, there's this little folded map icon. And when you click it, you get different choices. The Explorer view, the driving view, the transit view, and the satellite view. Each of these has a different style to them. The Explorer view is really meant for finding new locations, finding new businesses. It sort of allows the labels for the businesses to hop up. We're going to be using the Explorer for a lot of today. Driving is where we go when we're getting driving directions with real-time traffic. Transit is for public transportation, whether you're taking buses or trains, you live in New York. And many of these features exist outside of the US, but not all of them. So if you're international and you don't see some of these features, I'm sorry. Apple Maps is rolling out to other countries relatively quickly, but it's not everywhere yet. And then on the far bottom right, we've got the satellite view. And the satellite view gives you a more realistic view of what you're looking at, allowing you to kind of zoom in and get a really, really specific view like Google Earth kind of view of things. As I said, we're going to really stay on the Explorer side most of the day today because we're going to be talking about finding locations. Now, what I want to do is I want to get a suggestion, Frank. You got a suggestion of what kind of place we could look for?
Yeah. Let's
All
look
right.
for an Italian restaurant.
Italian restaurants. All right. So oddly, that was the search I did beforehand. So you can see in my
What's that
recent
right?
section up at the top, it says Italian cuisine. So I'm going to go ahead and click that.
Like DiCarlo, I can't help it.
Yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. So when you're doing a search, and let's say that you want to go find Italian food, you do this kind of search and it shows you around your area all the separate restaurants. They kind of pop up around here. And what a lot of people do is they will click on a restaurant, Ca del Sol here, and they'll get directions, they'll call it, they'll check the website, maybe they'll look around on it. Real basic things here. But the problem is when you're doing things like that again and again and again, you're wasting time because there are certain Italian restaurants in your neighborhood, right, Frank? There's like a handful of them, the good ones. Creating a collection of something like Italian restaurants allows you to have one go-to place where you can find all of those locations together. And that can make it really easy for you to decide which Italian place you want to go to. And there are two kinds of guides that exist that we're going to be talking about today. The first kind of guide is pre-created for us, and we're going to start off with that one, and then we're going to lead into how to customize a guide. So when I come in and I look for, and I'm going to get out of Italian cuisine here, when I come into my search, you're going to notice as you scroll down, there's a section that says Guides We Love. This is based on your location and searches that you've been doing. You can see here it's based on new restaurants and where to eat in LA, and you can see there's a handful of them. The Guides We Love are generally recommended. There's usually 2 or 3 of them. But right underneath that, there's a section that says Explore Guide. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that section. Now, when I come in here, up at the top, you can see Guides in Los Angeles because, hey, That's where I live. But that's not where Frank lives. If I click on the little arrow to the right of Los Angeles, you'll see all of the major cities, at least in the United States. There are also worldwide cities that we can come to here. Again, it's not as global as we'd all like. We're going to focus on North America here. And let's see, do we have... I'm going to do New York. I know you're in New Jersey, but I'm going to do New York because it's easier for me to get to here. When I come into this section with guides, what I want you to see is that for New York, there are tons of pre-built guides, whether it's, Najenka Julia's Brooklyn spots or New York City bakeries or New York City spots, where to eat in Little Italy. And as you scroll through this, you're going to find tons and tons and tons of these guides. These have been pre-created from lots of different places. For example, this Ethan Barber's New York one is an Apple guide. And you can tell it's an Apple guide because we'll come back here. You see these little symbols to the right of the picture. So if you're looking at that, you're going to see, oh, this is a Yelp guide or a Michelin guide or the Infatuation or an Apple guide. So the Ethan one here is an Apple guide. Each of these separate sources are helping you find locations and clumping them together. So if we were going to go to 11 of the best donuts in America, because now I'm hungry. Are you hungry for donuts now? I totally am. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It's from a website called The Infatuation. And you will see that these are spread all over the country. Looks like we've got one in Hawaii, we've got one in Florida, one in California. As you look through these guides, it's going to give you specific information about each of these places. Here's Family Donut, here's Cora's, here's Bob's Donuts. And with each of these specific locations, you can add them into your library by clicking the plus button. So we're going to talk about three separate pieces. We're going to talk about adding something to your library, we're going to talk about pinning something, and we're going to talk about guides. Adding something to your library just makes it easier for you to find it at a later point. So if I really want to go to Bob's Donuts, clicking that plus button, boom, it's now added into my library. How do I get to my library? Well, when you are inside of your search, like I am right here, you'll notice this library section that shows a couple of locations, and then underneath it, it says 5 places, 1 guide, 0 routes. So I'm going to click on that little bar here, and here we're going to see recently added places. There's Bob's Donuts right there, as well as the other information, the guides, the pinned, etc. Adding something to your library just makes it easy to find, but it doesn't really solve the problem of finding all of those locations collectively, which is what guides are really made for. So we're going to come back into guides, and we're going to go back to, let's see, Brett Chody's favorite LA restaurants. I'm curious. I like restaurants. Instead of coming to the specific location like we did here with this plus button, I'm going to stay up at the top where the plus button says Add to Library. And clicking that plus button right at the top there takes the entire guide and adds the entire guide into our library. Which means that anytime I'm in this listing here and I'm at my library, if I come into this section, I'll be able to see that specific guide. So now I'm going to go to this guide, and I want you to see what happens when I go to this guide. Where my local restaurants, right there. So what it does is it gives me, and you can see it kind of here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You can see that it shows these separate locations on my map all at one time. And I can come from any one of these restaurants, I can get any information about any of these restaurants, but what I love about it is that I now know geographically where these are in comparison to me. So I can determine, you know what, it's a really special night, we're going to go to the Ivy. Oh, did I lose my screen, Frank? Oh, there we go. I came back. So I might want to go to the Ivy, and I can come into this area here and go right into it and make it easy for myself. So by having these guides collected, it means that it puts all of those locations, whether it's the best restaurants or the best donuts, all one click away from you directly from the library. Now, before I stop and take a quick break here, I want to talk about the difference of adding something to your library, adding something to a pin, and adding something as a guide. So we kind of understand that you can add a location to your library. It makes it easier to find, it makes it easier to search for, and you can find it inside of this section here where it says places. But if you look right at the top here, you're going to see where it says home, work, and add. These are pinned locations, and these are locations that you go to all the time, whether it's your home, whether it's your work, whether it's your kids' school, something like that. These are what is known as pinned locations, and they're pinned right at the top of your map so you can find things super, super, super easily. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab my son's high school, if I can find it, right there, and I'm going to click the little pin to the right side. Now, anytime I'm in this search box, I can get directions to my son's school with a single click. And you can have a handful of pinned locations. I recommend less than 10 because all of a sudden it becomes an extra thing you're going to have to sort if you have too many of them. Right now you can see 4 of them. You can scroll back and forth on this when you add more of them, but the top 3 or 4 are the ones you're going to see regularly. Anything more than that's going to be a little off to the side. So it's really beneficial for you to add the most traveled to locations right here, whether it's home, work, your son's school, your best friend's house, that Italian restaurant you go to every Thursday, right, Frank? That's the place he's going to add. And then the concept of the guides is more of a collection of all of those places that I don't necessarily have to manage myself. I'm going to come into the LA hit list of the best new restaurants, and it immediately pulls me into my location, shows all of these separate sites. I can click the Add to Library button, and it means that I can find any of those sites and I can get into those guides super, super easily. But that's all about pre-created guides. That's about some website or some travel blog that says, these are the best restaurants, these are the best donuts, this is the best Italian places. And it's helpful, but I can also search for those myself. So it's not the end of the world greatest thing until you travel somewhere. When you go to travel somewhere, being able to put feet down on the ground outside of the airplane and click a button and immediately know all the best coffee shops, all the best restaurants, all the best comic book shops, or where to go see a movie, or what are the amusement parks for this area, that's where the guide really, really shines. When you're home, guides are more valuable when you customize them, which we're going to do in a moment. But when you're traveling, being able to land and go, I want to see all these great places. Where are they? How do I get to them? And have them all collected in this guide where it's put all the information of the separate restaurants, the separate stores, the separate things, the ability for you to make reservations all in one place. So I hope that helps to explain the difference between a pinned location, a saved location, and a guide. Frank, let's head into our room. Let's talk to our friends for a moment before we slip into part 2.
Absolutely. I don't know if you're aware, we've got a lot of questions over the last 2 weeks regarding the YouTube membership. People are curious on what that involves, and they're wondering about the live broadcasts that we're doing. So maybe you can bring a little clarity to everybody so they understand.
So for anyone here that has a little Apple icon to the right side of their name, you've already become a member at one of our 4 levels of YouTube membership. There's the 99-cent level, the $4.99 level, the $9.99 level, and the $19.99 level. We started this about 6 months ago, and we weren't sure how we were going to utilize it. We just knew it was an opportunity to connect more deeply with our members. And what came out of it was a relationship and a community. You guys have become my go-to connections. I feel like I'm in relationship with you. Some of you I've even done one-on-one work online. So, people like Jocelyn or Manny, I've had work with you because you came in through this membership. The benefit to being a YouTube member is about to get way more valuable because prior to today, all of these live broadcasts have been free to everyone. But starting today and moving forward, the majority of these broadcasts are just for the members. So for 99 cents a month, you can get a dedicated hour with me every week that's for you and the other members. But that's not where the perks are going to stop. We're just really digging into these perks. We're getting ready to release our Smart Guide website, which has all of our existing smart guides, and it should be, I keep being told, within the next day or 2. So we're really, really, really close. When that is available, we will be putting a post up that is only accessible for members on the $20 level. If you are a member on the $20 level, you will see a post on my YouTube channel with a link that will allow you access directly into this website. And if you're at the $10 level, we will be posting the smart guides into that post, only available for members of the $10 and $20 level automatically. So you'll be able to go right into YouTube at any time, click those links, and download those guides, even if you can't make it to this session. In addition to that, we're going to be having monthly VIP live calls with everybody on the $10 level and above. And that'll be happening with you being able to sit with me in a different interface. What we're doing here is Frank and I are working together and I'm teaching you something. But what we'll be doing in those VIP rooms is we'll be talking. You'll be posting your questions in the chat. I'll be telling you what I'm working on, what I'm struggling with, what I'm excited about. And it'll be like sitting in the same room together and having that kind of a conversation. That is only for the YouTube members. So if you've been sitting on it, if you've been waiting, if you've been enjoying these live broadcasts and said to yourself, you know, when these live broadcasts stop being available for the public, maybe then I'll sign up. This is your moment. This is the opportunity to get into the game and get into relationship with me on a deeper level and understand that this is just the beginning. We have not even scratched the surface of what we want to do for the YouTube members, and there's a whole wealth of options that we'll start to dig into as we take this next step. The first step is every live broadcast will start to be private, with the exception of one public per month. The majority of them will be just for you guys. So if you haven't joined, if you've been sitting on it, if you've got questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Frank will take a stab at answering them. I'll answer them myself if we need more clarity. But just know this is the way for you to work with me in an easy, affordable way that gives you access that the average person on YouTube doesn't have, that gives you the ability to connect with me on a completely different level where you and I are friends. We know each other, we know what's going on, and we're connecting and communicating beyond the average person who's just watching the video and then going to the next video. Welcome to the MacWhisperer community, where we make your technology work for you instead of the other way around, and we start to make it easy again.
Nice job. Great explanation.
All right. All right.
Go back to the phone.
Yeah, let's go back to the phone.
I'm excited to find out how I can customize my own guide.
Awesome. So, why would you want a customized guide? Well, there's a number of different reasons. First off, you may be an expert in Los Angeles comic book shops, for example, and you might have a ton of comic book friends who come to visit Los Angeles and they say, hey, Dylan, can you share with me all of your favorite places? And you're thinking to yourself, that sounds really hard. I'm gonna have to text you each location and look up the address and the phone number and the hours, and you don't. You can build a custom guide and you can share that custom guide, which is gonna be the power tip we'll reveal before the end of today as to how you can share those guides. But first, we gotta create a guide. So I'm gonna use the example of comic book shops, and I'm gonna start by coming into Maps and I'm going to type in comic books nearby. Okay, now, if I was really doing this, I wouldn't just do comic books nearby. I would find my favorite comic book shop, but we're doing it quickly here. So here we've got a listing of all of the results that showed up for nearby, and it's currently sorted by distance from me. So you can see 1.2 miles, 1.3 miles. You can change that sort in a number of different ways, by best match, by ratings, etc. Let's go and sort by ratings instead. This is now giving us the top comic book stores by ratings, even if they're further away. The Comic Bug is 13 miles away, but it is a great shop, 5 stars on Yelp. I'm going to click on it. From this page, you're going to get all the information about this store, how far it is to drive, who you need to call, their website, their reviews, additional information. Here's their hours. All this stuff is available, but I want to add it to a guide. So I'm going to click the More button on the top right side here, 3 dots. And from here, I'm going to say Add to Guide. But before I do, notice you could also add to your library if you wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and add it to Guides instead. And I don't have a good guide for it yet, Frank. We're going to create one. I'm going to click New Guide here, and this is going to be called Best comics, and let's see if we can add an emoji for it. Let's see. A little superhero. There we go. Best comics. And I'm going to click the create button. And so now I have specifically created a guide, and you can see that while we are on the Comic Bug site, down a little bit below, it's going to show that this is currently in one of my guides. You'll also notice up at the top the ability to add a note. Adding a note allows you to have your own information for this guide. It doesn't get shared when you share them out, but I might come in and I might say, I love this shop, but their prices on action figures are out of control, period. That way, when you go to that shop, you remember not to buy the action figures there. Now let's find the next shop. I'm going to click the X button in the upper right-hand corner, and we're back to the list that we used to create this in the first place. Here's the Mighty Lucador. That's a super fun name. I bet it's a super fun shop. Let's go ahead and click on it. We're going to do the same thing. Click the three dots where it says more, add it to guides. This time we've got the guide already. We can add it into Best Comics, and we can continue from there. So by doing this, you begin to build your own guide for a specific location. Now, we use comic books as an example, but I'd like to give you a different example. Let's say that you're traveling to New York and you would like to see a handful of specific attractions in New York. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to come in. In this case, I could do it by grabbing an existing guide and adding things to it, but I'd rather be a little bit more specific. I want to go to the Statue of Liberty. It's going to let me find that here, Statue of Liberty. Okay. As I come here, you'll notice that it shows that this already exists in a bunch of guides, which is great. I could use one of those guides to build my own, but I don't want to do that. I want to do it myself. So I'm going to click the More button, upper right-hand corner here, click Add to Guides. We're going to create a new guide. This is going to be my New York trip. Okay. And this time I'm going to point out something to you. I'm not going to do it in this moment, but you'll see over here that you've got the ability to add a photo. So you can take a guide and you can add specific photos either from your library or ones you've downloaded from the internet directly in here. We'll take my lovely wife in the snow, add that in. Not that it represents New York, but I'll probably go to New York with her, so she might as well be in the guide. And we're going to give it a list. We're going to say best places in New York. I'm going to click create on that. And now I've got my own guide that I can begin to build the other pieces of. What are the other places I want to go when I'm in New York? What are the places my wife wants to go? What are the places my son wants to go? And I can gather all of those places together into that guide, and then I can share that guide with them. In addition to the idea of using a guide for something like the best comic book shops or the best Italian restaurants or the places you want to visit in New York, one of the other things you can do with your guides is you can use it as a way to locate all of your friends and have a quick map for all of your favorite people in the world. So you can come right in, and I'm going to just see if I have Frank in this library. I may not. Okay. I'm on a spare phone because I had problems earlier, so I don't have all of my addresses. But you could go in and you could start to add your family, the favorite people in your life. And as you add that family or those people, it means that with one simple click, you immediately have access to all of those addresses, and you can even plan a route from one person's house to the other. This was really, really helpful for me during the pandemic. In the beginning of the pandemic, the first Christmas for the pandemic, nobody was going to be able to get any presents. So my wife and my son and I dressed up in an elf costume, a Santa costume, and I don't remember what my son's costume was. It might have been the Grinch, if I remember correctly. And we put all of the presents in our car, and we created a guide for all of our family members. And we used the guide to go from member to member to member to member so that we were not going member to family member, so that we weren't going back and forth. We were able to use the guide to plot and plan an exact map from one person to the next so that everything was done in order without us going east and then west and then north and then south and then all over the place. So you can use these guides to plan your trip, whether it's a trip to visit all your family members or a trip to hit all the best New York tourist sites. Guides are a really, really, really powerful piece. And I'm going to have us go back into the room for a minute. We will come back to talk about sharing guides and a couple of basic questions, and then we'll have our Q&A. Frank?
Sounds good. Let's talk about regular membership. Give everybody a
Awesome.
little bit of an idea. I think our next class is Saturday, right?
Yeah, what is our topic? Do you have that in front of you?
I don't.
So we think we're still on photos, if I remember correctly.
Sounds
So
right.
let's just pretend that I'm right. I don't want to look it up.
Sounds right.
Um, what what is the single best way to work with me? Well, there's lots of ways you can work with me. You can watch my YouTube videos. You can watch these live broadcasts that we do. You can hire me. I cost $225 per hour, and I'm happy to do in-person or remote work. Of course, in-person requires me to be local to you. I'm not going to do an in-person with Manny in the UK. That's not going to happen unless he wants to buy my ticket and give me a place to stay for a week. You want to do that, Manny? You ready for that? Um, so, what I wanted to point out about that is I'm 225 an hour to work with me in person. There's a lot of pieces that need to come together for you to get the most out of your technology. And for many people, $225 an hour is a little bit too much money to spend to solve all the little problems. It's great when you have a specific project, but geez, Dylan, I just bought a new Mac and I don't know what the heck I'm doing with it. That's where the MacWhisperer Academy comes into play. The MacWhisperer Academy is a community of people just like you. We teach classes on Fridays and Saturdays of every month, and the classes are themed to help you learn what you need to know without the one-on-one time, to help you get yourself set up, to help you get a new computer, to help you get your email sorted, to help you understand how to use an iPad better or how to use your phone better. The classes are 2-hour classes. There's 2 per month on different topics, and there's also a 1-hour Q&A where you can come and get any question you want answered. So when you think about the cost of hiring me for an hour at $225 an hour, and listen, I'm worth it. Not kidding. I will do amazing things for you in that one-on-one. But if you compare it to having 2 2-hour lessons per month plus 2 1-hour Q&As per month, you're getting, what is that, Frank? Help me out with math. Is that 6 hours? I believe that's 6 hours. 2, 4, 6. You're getting 6
Yeah.
hours of time with me per month for only $100. And if you click this QR code or the link that Frank's going to put in the chat, you can try it out for 30 days. Our next class is on Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific time until 11 a.m. Pacific time. And I believe we're on photos. That's my recollection. I'm teaching you how to organize your photos, make sense of them, collect them into albums, share them with your friends, and stop making yourself crazy. Apple changed the photos game again this year when they released the iOS 18, iPadOS 18, and macOS 15 operating systems, which changed the way the Apple Photos app looks. Without some help and some guidance, you could be lost for hours and hours and hours trying to sort it out. Or we can hang out. I'll teach you everything you need to know, and you'll walk out of that class a master of Apple Photos ready to organize your entire library. The opportunity to work with me in the MacWhisperer Academy is just a higher level opportunity for you to get everything you need without paying a $225 per hour price for the one-on-one time with me. And the best part about it is the community. And I mean, Frank, let's just take a moment. The people that are here right now, the people that are in this chat, every one of them that's got a green name and a little apple to the right, these are people that are part of our community, and many of them are also part of the MacWhisperer Academy community.
Yeah.
These are friendly people. These are people who want to help and want to work with you so that you can both get better. Because as human beings, we learn better in groups. I know you think you learn better one-on-one, but the reality is other people will ask questions you didn't think to ask. And that's why schools are all taught in classrooms, not one-on-one tutors. We need the other people to ask the questions we didn't think about. So if you're new to Mac, or if you want to get better at the Mac, or if you're flummoxed by technology and you're thinking, how am I ever going to stay on top of all of these tools and all of these features? And you hear AI and your eyes glaze over, like, I'm never going to learn it. I'm never going to get. You're probably right unless you get some help. And the help can come in many forms, from joining us with these live broadcasts, which will get more and more intimate as we go into the members only broadcasts, or come join us at a class and find out what it's like to have a actual Mac genius in your pocket ready for you to connect with at any time. That's kind of my pitch on that, Frank, but
No,
anything else you want to bring to that?
it's awesome. As terrific as you are and an incredible teacher, I enjoy these, but I really enjoy the classes in the academy, largely because we do them on Zoom, and I think you touched upon that. You know, there's that's one-on-one. People step up, get on camera, speak. You walk them through. It's really a hand holding, and it's a big difference. If you haven't experienced it, and I've said it before, I'll put my email in here. I'm known to invite people, so if you want to pop me an email and join us on Saturday, I'd be happy to extend an invitation. There's really nothing like it.
And I'm just going to take one last piece to kind of connect to this. In this particular live broadcast, you can see the people chatting and having conversations while we're, in the middle of this lesson. They're going back and forth. In a moment, I'm going to have anybody with a question put their questions in here, and I'll be able to answer a handful of these questions. We've got a decent amount of time today, which I did intentionally. Frank has forced me to slow down. This is, in case you're wondering why I'm moving slower today, Frank has been on me to just keep slowing down
Slow
so
it
that I'm not
down.
running in front of people, right? There's no reason to rush here. We got plenty of time. So you're going to watch people put their questions into the chat, and I'm going to answer some of those questions, which is better than watching a YouTube video and hoping I get to your comment. But when we're in class, you and I'll have a conversation about those questions. I'll make sure you understand the separate pieces. I'll pull you up on screen sometimes and share your phone or share your computer so you can tell me exactly what it looks like on your screen. Because the biggest problem with YouTube or asking these questions is what you're seeing doesn't always match what they're showing. And there's reasons why. So having the ability for you to connect with me about why it doesn't look right is easier when we're in the class. We've got more tools and capability, and it's a conversation instead of me just saying, let me grab a couple of questions and do my best at answering them. So there are levels of the work that we do, and while I love the YouTube membership and I will be pouring all sorts of energy and attention into it in the next couple of months, the MacWhisperer Academy is the best thing I've ever done in my business because I've watched it transform lives in the course of weeks. I've watched people do things. I mean, I have a list right now, Frank. I don't know if I've shared it with you. We did a class on how to organize and clean up your email, and I have like 15 members from that class who sent me testimonials going, I can now see the light in my inbox. I only have 100 messages in my inbox. I've only got 500 messages in my inbox. I'm not overwhelmed with hundreds of thousands of things. I can find stuff without searching for it. I'm no longer dropping things out. Oh my God, you're a miracle worker. After one session. So where are you struggling?
It's true.
That's what I got, Frank.
Good stuff. Let's
All
get
right.
you back to the phone.
All right. So I want to take just a moment, make sure that we're clear on the concept of adding a location, pinning a location, creating a guide. But the real piece that helps with guides is the ability for you to share them with other people. Now, unfortunately, and I learned this today and I'm annoyed by it, and I hope they fix it, you cannot share a guide and collaborate on it in real time. That means if you plan your trip to New York and you put all the things in New York and you share the guide to your spouse and he or she adds a new location, that new location will only exist on their device. In other words, it doesn't share both directions. Once you've shared it, it shares a copy of that guide. My hope is in the near future, Apple allows us to collaborate on guides, but it doesn't eliminate the functionality of it. When I planned my last New York trip and put all the pieces together inside of a guide and shared that guide to my son and my wife, wherever we were, we had access to all of those locations on all of their devices, and they took some day trips and did some things without me, and I took some day trips and did some things without them, but we had this guide that showed all of our favorite locations, and it's super, super easy to do. Once again, when I'm here just in the open space of maps where it's ready for me to search, and I'm going to swipe up to give us a little more room there, you will see your library, the pinned locations in your library, and clicking on this bar right here, you will get instant access to your guides, all the separate ones that you've created. Once you've done that, and we're just going to use our best comics guide as an example, you can click on it. Shows our best comics and opportunities here. I want you to be aware, oh, let me do that differently. When you first come into it, it's going to open up at this view. It's not good enough. You're going to need to swipe it up to the larger view because in the larger view, you get tools on the bottom. On the bottom right, you get a plus button. That plus button can allow you to add a new location directly in. I'm going to add this Italian restaurant, not that it makes sense, right in there. On the bottom left corner, I've got the edit button. That allows me to remove things from a guide if I no longer want them without deleting the guide entirely. We'll delete that out of there. And then, in addition to that, in the bottom middle is our friendly share icon. And clicking that share icon will allow me to share this guide as is to anyone that has an Apple product. And as soon as I do, that person can add that guide to their library. So again, if I did all the work on all the best comic book shops in LA and all of my comic book loving friends say, hey, send me that guide, 2 button clicks, it's in their hands, and they can then use that guide and add their own places into it or delete the ones they don't like rather than starting from scratch. And these guides are such a gift when you're dealing with a large number of locations and keeping track of them, and the simplicity of just clicking that send button and sending that directly to, in this case, we'll send it directly to Frank. Oh, I don't have you in here, Frank. I'm on a spare phone, so I don't have any of the proper data on it. But you can go ahead and send that directly to the other person, and they have immediate access to it. If you are going to work with multiple people and they're all going to add to the same guide, my recommendation is when somebody changes the guide, have them share it back to you and add the new version in. That way you'll stay up to date with what they've changed. But it's such a valuable tool, and I'm really excited to hear about any questions we've got, any things you want to know, anything outside of guides, pins, and favorites with regard to maps that you want to hear about today. We got a good 20 minutes. But before we do that, Frank, let's drop our smart guide to our friends, and then we'll come back. If you've got a question, go ahead and drop it into the chat. It's really helpful if you put just the letter Q before your question so that when we're glancing across things, we can see, oh, that's a question versus a comment. And I've got a couple of other pieces here. Stephanie, I've got your request to show how to start a new guide. I'll do that as soon as we come back. Any other questions, drop them in. And don't forget to grab your smart guide.
Jeff's curious whether or not he can make a guide on his iPad and then move it to the phone.
Absolutely. My recommendation, again, thank you, Mark. Mark's going to get thanked every single time I do this. Go on your iPad, click on this, add it into the Books app. The Books app will automatically synchronize with all of your other Apple products, making it super, super easy for you to get it on the iPad and view it on the phone and giving you a location to start to organize these smart guides.
Is that I don't know if that's what Jeff meant. I think Jeff meant one of the map guides.
Oh, if you get a guide on maps, they synchronize automatically on any Apple devices tied into that same Apple account. So if your iPad and your iPhone are on the same Apple account, once you create it on one, you'll find it on the other one. They totally talk to each other.
There you go. Perfect. I'm going to put the URL to be able to download this smart guide in the chat right now. But you can use that QR code if you're on your computer and you want to scan on your iPad or iPhone. Once again, everybody was extremely happy with this smart guide. I saw them buzzing around over the last couple of days. Came together really nicely. The team is just doing an amazing job. Got almost 20 pages on this one. It's a great step-by-step, great walkthrough. And this is something you can reference. And I noticed that more and more people are sharing them with friends. We're getting a lot of referrals, people showing up like, I saw that smart guide. I had to go see what you guys are doing. So we appreciate that. So please download that. It's our gift to you. It's a great tool.
All right. Frank, if you're ready,
Yeah,
we got everybody's got what they need.
I think
Go ahead and
so.
bring me back over to the phone.
Let's do it.
And I got a couple of questions here that I'm going to answer. And then, guys, be sure. I've got a couple of questions that I'm going to answer. And then, Frank, if you'll keep an eye open for other questions, as I said, we've got about 15 minutes. For sure, we're going to answer low effort inks question. Low effort's awesome. We want to make sure. We want to make sure you get to that question answered. A very cool question. I like it.
Good.
Okay, let's go ahead and start off. I want to answer Stephanie's question. If you'll just pull that up, if you can. She asked how to create new guides, and I'm going to do it a couple of different ways. The first way you can do it is from this screen. You can click where you see the underneath the pin things right there, and you can come right into guides, and then bottom right corner there's a plus button. You can use that to just immediately create a new guide. That is the easiest way to create a new guide, but you can also create a new guide when you are finding a location. So we're going to go to Artist and Craftsman Supplies. I'm going to tap on this particular place and come to the More button on the right side here, and I'm going to click Add to Guides. But Stephanie, I don't have a guide. How am I going to make one? Well, I'm going to click the button that says New Guide right there. It's going to say, okay, this is going to be our art store. Click Create, and we now have a guide including this location. Once you've created a guide, it's easy for you to add other things into it, and you can create it, as I said, when you find a location and add it to guides. You can create a new guide there, or you can manually come into your library here and create it by going into the guides section and hitting the plus button in the lower right-hand corner.
Nice.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, next piece. What did low effort? Let's get low effort's question up there if we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a couple other questions too, but
Good, good. What's an old feature, hardware or software that you miss and you wish Apple would bring back? Well, there are a lot of little pieces that have gotten lost along the way. That's a really good question. I have to kind of think about it for a second. You know, I really miss. Damn, such a good question. I'm going to think about that question. Put that down. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to give you a better answer rather than just going off the top of my head. Let's grab another question. I'll come back to it.
fine. Lee is asking, and it looks like John has the same question. He wants to wants to add smart guys to books. It's been a game
All
changer.
right. So we're going to try and do this in real time here. Frank, I need a QR code on the screen, please.
I can do that. Let's bring you to the PDF.
Okay. All right. So you're not going to see it happen first, but what I'm going to do on my phone is I'm going to go ahead and open up my camera and I'm going to scan this QR code, and then Frank's going to pick us up from there. So all I'm doing, you can't see it, but trust me, all I'm doing is opening up the camera and pointing it at the QR code. All right, so I have now captured that QR code. Go ahead and share my phone screen, please.
Mm-hmm.
This puts us on this page where you've got to sign in. I'm going to go ahead and sign myself in. Dylan, and what's my email address? And I'm going to click the Download Now button. The Download Now button takes me to the Smart Guide, which is now showing up on my screen, which you guys can see. So to put it into Apple Books, all I've got to do is click the Share button at the bottom of the screen. And I should have, across the top here, there's Books. I'm going to click on it. Now for reference, if you do not see Books across this top where these apps are, go to the far right side, click on the More button, and turn Books on, or edit it and put it higher in the list. I'm going to go ahead and actually edit it while we're here. I'm going to go ahead and add Books to the top here and pull it all the way up front. And so now whenever I'm in this page, Books is right there. Once you can see the Books app, all you're going to do is click on it, and it's going to take that PDF and immediately, you can tell I'm on a new phone, right? And immediately add that directly into books. Done. So that's the process. Go to the website, get it where the smart guide is in front of you, hit the share button, and from the share button, add it to books. It's a little easier on the computer because you can download it, but on the phone and the iPad, that's the easiest way to do it. Question answered on that, Frank?
Yeah, that was well explained.
Good,
Holly, I'm not sure what Holly's asking. She asking about the membership, YouTube membership, Academy membership?
So Holly's got a question about why she doesn't have the apple to the right. And the question is very, very easy to explain. Holly is a MacWhisperer Academy student.
Oh, okay.
She is part of the $100 a month student community. She has not yet added on the YouTube membership at the dollar level or above. When she does, she becomes a member here. If she doesn't, she continues to be a student and get our classes, but she won't get our members only broadcasts on YouTube. She'll only get public things on YouTube.
Got it.
So Holly, it's a 99 cents add-on, so to speak, to put you into this membership as well. They're actually separate things. One is controlled by us, which is the MacWhisperer Academy. The other one is controlled directly by Google and YouTube. And we have no way to grant people membership at YouTube. It's not something that we're able to do. So that's why we've kept the 99 cent plan, because it'll get you the majority of the things that you're missing, which is essentially these broadcasts. You should know that as a MacWhisperer Academy student, you already have access to all our smart guides, so you don't need to pay more here to get that functionality there.
Charmaine wants to know if the map guides could be shared on websites.
I don't know the answer to that question. I'll look into it, Charmaine. I do not know the answer. I guess my question, and maybe you can put this in the chat, is why do we want to? And if the answer is because we want non-Apple users to be able to access it, I'll look and see if it's possible. If there's a different reason than non-Apple users, let me know. It's not something I've ever explored because I don't want things on websites when I can have them in apps. Website to me is the second option, not the first option. But if I don't have an Apple device, it's a different situation. So I'm going to tell, I now have my answer for low effort ink. Go ahead and pull his question back up.
Let's see.
He's going to find it. He's going to find it.
Yeah.
You just sit tight. I know what this is a powerful answer.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Got it?
Yep.
What's a feature, hardware or software, that you miss and wish Apple would bring back? I wish Apple would bring back fun and color. What the heck is up with Apple being so bland? All of the computers, like, they're so excited. They released a black laptop this year. We had a black laptop in 2012. I want a red laptop. I want a blue laptop. I want a multicolored laptop that looks like the old iMacs that were like, translucent. I wish Apple would get out of the everything's in a box now. Apple's become the predictable looking hardware company. And I would like their phones to be colorful, and different sizes and different shapes are fine, but let's make them colorful. Let's make them fun. Let's make them stand out. And really, the computers are my biggest gripe. I bought the new jet black MacBook Pro. I think it looks great. It doesn't look as good as my iMac looked back in 2001. The color of the iMacs that Steve Jobs first released, those gumdrop iMacs, were such a unique design that style of translucent candy-like colors became something that your ironing machine became that color. Your washing machine did it. Your vacuum cleaner. There were cars that were made like that. I want Apple to lead the charge with making things colorful and fun again, and get off of this everything looks the same model that Tim Cook likes because it's easier to keep in stock. That's what I miss more than anything. So it's a great question, and thank you for giving me a second to think about it. We have another question for us?
I like Mark's answer, what he misses, the I prefix.
You know and Mark and I have had this conversation. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for being here. Mark is a student, a MacWhisperer Academy student. And once again, the man who gave me the idea of putting smart guides into Apple Books, previously known as iBooks. And what is it about the I that was so valuable? Searching was easier.
Exactly.
When I wanted to search for a problem on iTunes and I typed in iTunes, I would find things about iTunes. But now I can't do that. I got to search for music, which isn't specific to Apple or phones or computers. It means nothing. Music could mean, show me jazz bands in New Orleans. It's got nothing to do with technology. iBooks is unique. It's an Apple product. When I have an iBooks question and I Google iBooks, I only get responses for iBooks. But now it's called books, which are a thing that we hold that has paper in them that they have at libraries and bookstores. And when I look for a book situation, Amazon shows up, not Apple Solutions. So Mark, you're on it. I wish they would bring back the I or a little Apple icon or any letter that would make it simpler for me to search for things and not so damn hard to explain the difference between Apple TV and Apple TV and Apple TV and Apple TV Plus.
It's true.
Good call,
Here's
Mark.
a great example of the back and forth that we have to go through in these live broadcasts rather than being in the classroom, right? Charmaine answered your question, which is that she has a different use for putting the guides up on the website.
So she wants to create guides for visually impaired friends and load them up on a site so they can access it whenever. And I'll go back, and Frank just called it, the back and forth in chat is a little bit less effective than if I could just have the person right here, Charmaine, talking to me. Why can't we just have them loaded on maps for them? Why do we need to have it on a website? Why is the website the end piece of that? Because, especially for visually impaired people, Apple has all sorts of tools that are built in for visually impaired people under the accessibility settings that can read things off, can help them click on things. When you're inside of the Maps app, it's specific, it's located, everything's in one place. When you're on a website, there's 800 other things that website does, and the visual impairment accessibility descriptions, sometimes we'll get them stuck on the favorites page or clicking the back arrow, where really they just want to know more about that specific location. So if it were me, I stay out of websites whenever possible because websites are the lowest common denominator. They don't know what device you're on. They barely know what country you're in. They don't know how big your screen is. They don't know whether you got a camera or a microphone. They're just a generic tool, whereas apps understand the size of your screen, the device that you're on, all the extra pieces. I will look and see if it's possible, but I would strongly encourage, if they have Apple devices, just build them a guide and have them open it up on Maps. It's made for it. The problem with browsers, and I got to get this off my head, Frank, sorry. The problem with browsers is that they are a Swiss Army knife. You can get movie tickets and you can watch movies and you can make movies and you can find movie theaters nearby and they're a Swiss Army knife. If you had to, would you cut your steak with a Swiss Army knife steak? Swiss Army knife? Or would you rather have a good steak knife? Well, the Swiss Army knife comes with 400 other little things like bottle openers and can openers. There's a billion tools. But the steak knife is a better knife. To me, websites downgrade the capability of what apps do because apps are doing one thing. It's a steak knife. It's meant to cut a steak well. And websites are like, hey, we can do anything, just not very well. Jack of all trades, master of none. I'll stay out of websites whenever possible. All right, that's my rant. That's enough of that. Frank, we got time for one more question here?
Yeah, I like this question, and it goes along the lines of your customization. Can you do something with a photo or a cover image on a guide? Can you customize that?
It's a great question. Absolutely. We've got this screen up. Let's keep the screen going here. I'm going to come into the maps here. We're going to go directly into our New York trip guide right here. That is not my New York trip guide. That was the wrong one, Dylan. No, let's not do that. Let's do local restaurants. So when I'm inside of a guide, if I click the edit button in the lower left-hand corner and then click on the image at the top left, I can grab any image I want. which means if you have Apple Intelligence and Image Playground, you can create an image and use that image directly in here, or you can pick any image you want from your library and have that added directly into that guide, available whenever you're looking for the local restaurants. So it can either be one of your photos, something you downloaded online, or something you created with AI to customize that guide and make it really stand out and make it your guide and make it visual. So yeah, it's an excellent question. And I'm just going to tag on to that. The other thing that we said earlier that I think is really, really valuable is the ability for you to add notes to a specific location in your guide. And that's a great way to keep track. There's certain restaurants where it's like, don't order the risotto here. Putting into the guide means when you're on your way to that Italian restaurant, you see that note, you're like, oh, right, we'll be having chicken marsala tonight. So that's essentially what we've got. I want to say one thing before we pull back into our big room here. A lot of people ask me like what is the core of who I am as a teacher, as a Mac person? Like, what is it that defines and drives what we do? And it's simply this. I am always up leveling. I am always, as just part of my life, I'm growing, learning, adding tools, adding tricks, and changing to become better and better. And you've probably seen it if you've been watching these live broadcasts for the last 6 months. You've probably seen us grow and shift and change. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of my exploration of becoming a better teacher, a better guide, a better human being, because that's the core component of who I am and what I want to do. And as we move forward into these broadcasts that are for members, we're going to get more personal. We're going to get more connected. We're going to have more fun. And you're going to think to yourself, huh, Dylan's different. And I'm going to encourage you to do the same. It's our job as human beings to keep up leveling as long as you can, because there are opportunities to be better all around us. Frank, let's go to the two shot. Why don't you say a last thing and I'll close this out.
I just want to say how much I enjoy these and the classes, and take advantage of my email if you'd like to be invited to an Academy class. I hope to see those of you that aren't members next month on the 5th, I think, June. We're going to go back to the lives. And I just saw something Shirley posted. You and I were just talking about this yesterday. She's looking for an Apple Intelligence class. So we'll have to put that on our list.
100%
I just said it yesterday.
100% on my list.
We got to do Apple Intelligence.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah, that's all I have to say. It's just great doing this. I love the opportunity, and I love working with you, Dylan. So thank you.
So thank you, Frank. Thank you for being here. Frank holds it all together. You guys don't know. It just looks like he's a face on the screen, but you don't know how much work Frank and I do behind the scenes. And as we're building to these lives, he is integral to what we do. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone, whether you're a member or just a viewer or just someone who just popped in and was like, hey, this looks like an interesting topic. We do this for you. And we do this for you because it is my belief that technology should be easy, it should be fun, and it should support you building your dreams, not becoming a barrier preventing you from getting there. And we can help you accomplish those dreams. I hope to see you at the next members event. I hope to see some of you in class on Saturday. I hope to have some of you reach out to Frank and I for one-on-one support. And otherwise, just know I'm really grateful for you guys being here and helping to give me an opportunity to be a better and a better and a better technical teacher, coach, and a human being. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here today.